Hi, I'm Eric from Stinger Electronics. Today I'm here to show you the Heighten 10-inch multimedia infotainment system. I'm going to show you the different icons and what they mean, and all the cool features of this system. First we have radio, AM/FM tuner. We have a source indicator here that shows you which source you're on, so when we switch from radio and Bluetooth, that's going to let you know what source you're on. We use a large font for the station frequency, as well as the information being transmitted from the station, so it's easy to read and reduces driver distraction. To tune to a station, just press and hold to seek, and then if you like the station you're on, press and hold a preset to lock that into that preset. The AM/FM button will switch between the bands. You have 3 FM bands and 2 AM bands, which gives you a total of 18 FM presets and 12 AM presets. This button is called DX Local. This is how you switch between broad range and local stations. Normally, DX will pick up stations that are further away. If you're trying to get a station that's local, tap that to switch to local. USB is for thumb drives. If we take a thumb drive with music on it, we plug that into either of the ports on the back of the Heighten. This icon will become active. Just touching that icon will access your USB thumb drive or hard drive. Your music will play through and you can change tracks using the radio itself, or if your vehicle has steering wheel controls, you can use those as well. The next icon is Bluetooth music. Touch that to stream music from your paired Android or Apple device. You can use track control here, track forward, play pause, and as well as steering wheel controls if your vehicle is equipped. This next icon is for phone. This is where you can pair new phones, make or receive a phone call. You can also view your call logs, your contacts, and also other phone settings. This icon will switch from hands-free to privacy mode. This icon will bring up your keypad so you can type in a number manually. And if you get a phone call, you can press the green button to answer the call, or you can push the red button to ignore the call or hang up. Look, we're getting a phone call, so I'll push the green button to answer, and when I'm done with the call, simply press the red button to hang up. Settings is where you can go to add extra devices. Touching the arrow here will show that the 2 phones we have connected now. To add another phone, you would simply click Add, and then search from your device. Other settings include Auto Connect. You're able to change the PIN code. The Heighten has a built-in microphone, or you can install an external microphone, which is optional. This is where you would switch between the two. If people on the other end of the call are saying that your volume is too low, you can adjust the microphone gain by touching and adjusting the slider here. This also shows the version of the software. Taking a device and plugging in a USB cable will allow you to access Android Auto or CarPlay. When the appropriate device is plugged in, the icon will become active on the screen. It'll automatically launch the correct programs, and Android Auto or CarPlay will begin. From here we have access to maps and music and other features supported by CarPlay or Android Auto. All Android Auto features are supported. Now I'm going to disconnect this Android phone. The Android Auto button disappears. And I'm going to plug in an Apple iPhone, and Apple CarPlay will become available. So that icon is now going to become active, and CarPlay will launch. Again, all the CarPlay features are supported: maps, phone calls, all your standard CarPlay features, phones, calendars, things like that. All CarPlay and Android Auto are supported fully. The SiriusXM icon will access SiriusXM radio. This does require the purchase of an external tuner, which is separate. When the tuner is installed, you can touch this icon to access SiriusXM. There's a band button that allows you to cycle between the SiriusXM bands. This allows you to store 6 presets here, 6 more, and 6 more again. So you actually have 18 presets available in the Heighten. You'll notice the SiriusXM display shows the channel number, the information here, and a large text display. If you don't have an iPhone, but you do have an iPod, the Heighten supports iPod playback as well. Take a compatible Apple device, plug it into the USB port, and you can playback, search, and control your iPod from the Heighten. The cameras screen is where you can control and configure your cameras. You can quickly touch and view any of your installed cameras. If we had side cameras or blind spot cameras, we could access those by touching the appropriate icons. The mute button allows you to quickly mute source audio. The camera settings icon allows you to change settings for the cameras. Here you can choose the name of the camera: rear, outside, auxiliary, inside, bed, or trailer. And you can also turn the triggers on and off. If you do have a front camera installed and a reverse camera installed, like we do in this particular vehicle, camera 1 is going to be the reverse, camera 4 is going to be the front. You can turn the camera 4 trigger off, on, or you can use a feature called VSS. VSS will use the vehicle's speed sense to know when to activate the front or rear camera. From here we can also relabel or turn the triggers on for the side cameras, which would be 2 and 3. You can also turn reverse camera audio on right here in this menu. In your camera settings screen, there's also one option down here for reverse camera input. Most of your cameras are going to use a CVBS. If you have an HDMI camera, make sure to change your input here. The settings icon allows us to adjust many settings for the infotainment system. The clock, swipe up or down to change the time, 7:35. You can change between 12-hour and 24-hour, and select between AM and PM like that. System settings allows you to adjust the beep, low, medium, or high. Switching between options, now the radio will beep or not beep. The language can be changed between English, French, and Spanish. CarPlay settings and Android Auto settings are here. Device mode, microphone gain. Android Auto settings are here. Auto launch and Android Auto. If you want to load the defaults, if you don't like the settings you've adjusted, hit reset to install the defaults. At the bottom of the settings screen, you'll see installer settings. These are things that are used during the setup and initial installation of your Heighten. You typically don't have to worry about anything on that screen. The illumination icon allows us to adjust the color of the text that's on the buttons, as well as the buttons here, as well as the brightness. The top section for illumination is off, on, or auto. If you select auto, the lights will turn on with the vehicle's light switch. Illumination brightness can be adjusted by touching and dragging or tapping. Highlight colors are going to be the text. Right now it's white. You can change it to orange or red or blue. And that's going to change the color of the fonts that's on those icons on the main menus. The illumination color are these buttons down here. You can see as I change this, these will change. Red, blue, green. If you want to make a custom color, you can go down here and you can completely tweak this using RGB values, red, green, and blue values. Or just switch it back to standard, pick the color you like, and go with what looks great in your vehicle. The background icon will allow you to select one of the 9 preloaded backgrounds. Just touch it and it'll automatically load instantly. If you want to load your own graphics, press the icon plus button, plug in a thumb drive, and load the graphic from your thumb drive. I'm going to go ahead and switch that back to the background that came with it. The next icon is display settings. Here you can adjust brightness. You can also choose auto brightness. Again, that's where it's going to turn the radio brightness up and down with the headlights of the vehicle. You can change your AV out to either be audio, video, standard RCAs, or USB. Or you can turn it off. The sound setting icons will allow you to make all kinds of audio adjustments. Basic fade front to back, balance left to right, as well as advanced audio settings. In the advanced audio settings, there's a defeat icon. This will bypass all the audio configurations, allowing you to use an external DSP. There is a reset button that allows you to reset the default audio settings. If you're running Toslink optical output into a DSP or amplifier that's equipped with a fiber optic input, you can turn this output on or off here. The microphone selection is for choosing between the built-in microphone and the optional external microphone. If you install the external microphone, touch external to select it, or touch internal to use the microphone that's built into the Heighten screen. In the source gain settings screen, you can adjust the volume or gain of each individual source. Typically AM or FM is not going to be as loud as something like Android Auto, so you can turn the gain or the volume up here. If you're playing something back from a USB device and it's too loud or too quiet, you can adjust the gain or volume here. The volume settings. Start volume allows you to either start at the last volume where the radio was, or you can select custom. This way it's always going to start at 3 or 12 or 32. Whatever value you'd like the radio to start at, select that and choose custom. If you want it to turn on and go back to where it was last, simply select last. It'll automatically turn on at the same volume you left it. Same with Bluetooth volume, nav volume, and voice volume. These allow you to set a specific volume, and it's either going to go back to where it was the last time you use it, or it'll go to that preset volume. Along with fade and balance, left and right and front to rear, you also have a loudness control. Touch that to turn that on or off. That increases certain frequencies to make the sound more dynamic. You also have a subwoofer output. If you have RCAs connected and you have an amplifier for a subwoofer, that's where you can turn that subwoofer on or off. You can also touch 180 to invert the phase of the subwoofer. Controlling the subwoofer level, you can touch and drag or simply tap anywhere on the fader. That's going to allow you to control the subwoofer independently from the Heighten screen. If you're making adjustments and you've moved fade and balance, you can always touch center and it's going to return to the center of the vehicle. Next is the equalizer tab. There's a 15-band graphic equalizer. You can use this to physically drag up and down or tap where you would like the level set. If you touch and hold, it's going to have a little pop-up that shows the value. 0, 1, 2, 3. Many people don't understand the difference between 20, 100, 200, 4,000 hertz. So we've labeled the frequencies for you so you understand what adjustments you're making. Here we show sub-bass, bass, mid-range, which we've broken into mid-range, low-mid, and high-mid, and brilliance, which is the high end. So if you want it to sound a little louder, a little brighter, you can adjust the brilliance. If you want more bass, we can bring these frequencies up. This is the only system right now that shows you the frequency ranges and explains to you what you're actually adjusting, which makes it very easy for a user to adjust. If you find a setting you like, press and hold a preset to lock that in. We do have preset equalizers here in the factory EQ option. You can select one and hit rock, or hip hop, or electronic, and you can hear that changes instantly as you're listening to it. If we go back to the equalizer setting, if we like that sound, we can lock that in as another preset. So you feel free to use the factory EQs to populate some of your presets by selecting them and then pressing a preset to lock them in. You can always make adjustments to that preset and then resave it by pressing and holding again. Now you can quickly jump between your favorite presets to get the audio that you like for the specific music that you're listening to. Advanced tuning options are also available, like crossover. You can select the front, rear, and subwoofer crossovers here and adjust them independently. When making your adjustments, select the frequency, select the level, and you can also adjust the slope for the front as well as the rear and the subwoofer independently. If you've made adjustments and you don't like the sound and you want to return to the factory, simply press the flat icon to return to a flat crossover point. This next tab is for advanced audio files. The time correction will allow you to adjust the timing of the signals being played from the vehicle so that they reach a certain spot in the vehicle at a certain time. This allows you to create a sweet spot for either the driver or both the front passengers or anywhere else in the vehicle. Selecting time correction and turning it on, you can now increase the distance for each speaker. The default setting is inches. I'm going to tell it that my front speaker is 20 inches away. Now I'm going to tell it that my rear right speaker is 60 inches away. This is going to change the time it takes for the signal to reach me. For a slightly more precise time alignment adjustment, you can switch between inches to milliseconds, and you can adjust now by milliseconds to adjust that signal just a little bit more or a little bit less. This will create this perfect sweet spot for your vehicle. The tabs icon will allow you to custom configure the 7 tab icons that will display at the bottom of the screen. These are the ones you're going to use to quickly switch between sources. Change an icon, select the icon location you want to program, and then select the icon you want to put there. If I want to put my favorites here, I'll select the location, and then I'll select favorites. So now I'll show you where these icons appear. When you're in any of the sources, there's a little arrow at the bottom. Touch that arrow to reveal your tabs icon. Now you can quickly switch between sources. Touch the arrow and switch between sources. If you don't make a selection after 5 seconds, the tabs icon will automatically disappear, maximizing your screen real estate. The camera settings icon will give you access to the same settings we adjusted before. This is just a quick way to access those settings. If you have an HDMI source that you'd like to play back through the Heighten, touching HDMI and connecting that source will allow you to play it back through the screen. If you have an audio-video source that uses standard RCAs, touching this icon will allow you to view that source on the Heighten. Be sure you abide by all laws regarding video playback. Most of the icons you need are on the main screen. There are 2 icons accessible by tapping this arrow. The navigation icon is if you've purchased the optional iGo SD card and install that into the Heighten. It's a small card, plugs right into the brain of the Heighten. That allows you to use navigation and mapping software without using your cellular data or Wi-Fi. The display off icon will turn off the display of the Heighten. Simply touch anywhere on the screen to turn the display back on. Those are all the icons and features of the Heighten 10-inch multimedia infotainment system from Stinger Electronics. For the latest information and the latest firmware, visit stingerelectronics.com.